All right, let's dive into a story that comes from the chilling, misty mountains of India. It's a legend that starts in the dead of night on a lonely road, and it's known as the Haunted Bride of Himachal.
At almost 3:30 in the morning, he sees a bride. Just let that sink in. That one terrifying sight is the spark that ignites a true story from the heart of the Himalayas, a place known for its incredible beauty, but also for its deep, dark secrets.
Now, to really understand why this sighting was so chilling, we first have to understand the place where it all went down. It's a land of some pretty stark contrasts.
So on one hand, you have Himachal Pradesh, often called Div Bhumi, which means the divine land. And it is. It's absolutely stunning, full of serene beauty, snow-capped mountains, peaceful forests. But there's another side to it. Beneath all that beauty lies a world of secrets, a place where terrifying stories and unexplained mysteries are whispered on the cold mountain air.
At the very center of our story is a young man named Raghu. This guy was incredibly ambitious, super hardworking. His one and only dream was to join the Indian Army, and his whole life was built around this incredibly disciplined training routine. This meant he was kind of living a dual life. By morning, a dedicated Army aspirant, and by day, a village son, helping his family with all the daily chores.
And it was during that exact routine, that disciplined training, that everything changed. This is where we get to the dawn encounter.
You know, it's funny how sometimes one tiny, seemingly insignificant decision can set a whole terrifying chain of events in motion. For Raghu, it was about 3:30 in the morning. He woke up, glanced outside, saw the fog was way lighter than usual, and thought, perfect, I can get a longer run in today. He had absolutely no idea what that one choice was about to lead to.
So there he is, running along this dark, completely deserted mountain road. He's totally alone. And then, up ahead, he sees a shape. It's not a car, it's not an animal, it's something else entirely. So what was it?
It was a palki, a palanquin. You know, the covered, ornate carriers they use for brides at weddings? Just try to picture this. It's 3:30 a.m. You're on a cold, empty road, and there's a bride's palanquin just sitting there. But the real shock was what or who was inside.
Inside, there's a woman, dressed as a bride in a red sari. Her hair is long and tangled, her makeup is all faded, but her features are just deeply unsettling. Her eyeliner is so dark and intense it gives her this piercing gaze, and then there's the one detail that just screams that something is very, very wrong. Her lips were jet black.
Now Raghu, he's shaken, for sure, but he's disciplined. He keeps his pace, he keeps running. But as he passes the palanquin, the bride's head turns. She doesn't speak, she doesn't move another muscle. She just watches him with this silent, unblinking stare, her head tracking him as he disappears into the darkness.
Raghu's courage was definitely being tested, but the real terror? Oh, that was just getting started. This brings us to our next section, the terrifying chase.
Okay, so he hits his usual turnaround point and has to start running back. His heart is just pounding in his chest. You can imagine him thinking, will it still be there? Please don't let it be there. But as he gets closer, he sees it. The palanquin hasn't moved an inch, and worse, the bride is still inside, her head turned, looking right at him, as if she was waiting for him to come back. This time, Raghu doesn't even think. He just pushes himself to sprint past her, finally reaching the set of stairs that lead down to his village, and, more importantly, to his home. He thinks he's safe. He's almost there. But then, he hears a sound coming from behind him. It's the sound of anklets, that chun-chun sound. But this wasn't gentle or musical. This was a heavy, rhythmic thud, thum, tum, tum, and it was getting louder and closer. Raghu just freezes for a second and forces himself to look back. And this is the moment where the story goes from being strange to just pure horror. That large, heavy, awkward palanquin was somehow perched on the narrow stairs right behind him, and it was moving down towards him, one heavy step at a time.
That impossible sight just shattered his composure, and he ran for his life. But the encounter wasn't over. It followed him home, leading to this really strange aftermath, the mysterious fever.
Raghu literally bursts into his house, runs to his room, and starts praying desperately to a small statue of the deity Hanuman, a figure of protection. After that, he just collapses into bed, pulls the covers over his head, and eventually falls into this exhausted, troubled sleep. When he finally woke up, his body felt like it was on fire. His family rushed to his side and realized he had a dangerously high fever. The doctors came and measured it at a staggering 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, for 4 agonizing days, modern medicine did absolutely nothing. The fever wouldn't break, and Raghu was just getting weaker. Completely desperate, his family turned to tradition. They took him to a local spiritual healer known as a dev, who performed a ritual. And it was only after that Raghu finally began his slow recovery.
So, Raghu recovered physically, but the mental scars, well, they remained. And he chose to keep them a secret. Which brings us to the final part of this incredible story, an untold story.
So you might be asking, why would he keep quiet about something so terrifying? Well, it all came down to his dream. He knew that if he told his family about a haunted bride chasing him down a mountain, they would absolutely forbid him from his early morning runs. That dream of the army was everything to him, so he said nothing about what he really saw that morning.
Months went by. Raghu got better, he kept training, and he actually achieved his dream of joining the army. It wasn't until later, during a family visit to a local temple, that a holy man looked directly at Raghu and then recounted the entire terrifying encounter to his completely shocked parents, who had known nothing about it until that very moment.
And just like that, a legend was born. Once the secret was out, Raghu's story spread through the whole region. The good news is, he was safe and he had achieved his lifelong dream. But the core mystery, it only got deeper. No one in the area had ever seen this bride before. No one knew who she was or what she wanted.
Which leaves us with a final, and honestly, a very chilling question. Raghu's story has an ending, but the bride's story does not. And that's the question that remains. Who was that bride with the jet black lips? And does she still wait on that cold, lonely road for the next person to run by?